Today's Humboldt County adventure begins here in the lovely seaside village of Trinidad with its dazzling views of the Trinidad Bay below and the rugged coastline extending far to the south. That rocky promontory in the distance behind me is the Trinidad Head, and perched on its far side is the Trinidad Head Lighthouse. Now, this lighthouse was built over 150 years ago, and yet it still serves as a beacon for ships entering Trinidad Harbor. And that historic and still operating lighthouse is where we are heading today, right now in Humboldt, outdoors. We've just barely begun on the trail up to Trinidad Head, and we've already come across this view overlooking the beautiful Trinidad Beach to the north. It took me about 10 minutes to walk here from downtown Trinidad, and it'll be about another 10-minute walk from here up to the lighthouse. Now, for those who prefer a little shorter walk, there is a parking lot right at the base of the Trinidad Head, which has easy access to public restrooms, the Trinidad Pier, this beautiful beach down here, and even a restaurant. All right, so enough talking. Let's get back on the trail to head up to the lighthouse, and along the way, I'll show you some beautiful scenery. In the 1800s, dozens of ships wrecked on Humboldt County's rocky coast, and scores of lives were lost. So the U.S. government allocated funds to build a series of lighthouses along the coast to guide ships away from hazardous rocks and into safe harbor. The Trinidad Head Lighthouse was built in 1871, and it is just a short ways ahead, and we are going to go see it. Let's go.
Hi, welcome to the lighthouse.
Hey, it's great to be here. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you for coming. This is the site of the Trinidad Head Lighthouse. The lighthouse is just down there, and we can give you a tour of the lighthouse itself. And this lighthouse has been operating since 1871. Wow. Where we are right now is the site of the lighthouse keeper's house. It was actually taken off the site in 1960 and replaced with a triplex, which is also not here. But now we have this beautiful little park area. On a clear day, you can see way down the coast and see a lot of the California Coastal National Monument, the beautiful rocks off of Trinidad. So come on, let's take a tour of the lighthouse.
Great. Wow, it's scenic just from this point.
Oh, absolutely. On a clear day, you can see the pulp mill in Samoa. and even further down to the headlands of the Lost Coast. The clearest days, I mean, you can just see for miles.
You must love spending your first Saturdays of the month here.
This is not in any sense a hardship for me. Welcome to the Trinidad Head Lighthouse. This lighthouse was built in 1871 and has actually operated continuously since then. That sound that you just heard was from what is now the horn house. It used to be a bell house that was a clockwork mechanism operated bell, and that's down on the cliff. And these lighthouse keepers did their whole career. They were solely responsible for both the light and the bell. But their job would have been to pour coal oil into the lamp. It was a coal oil lamp that powered a 4th order Fresnel lens that then casts light about 14 miles out to sea. There's a little tiny LED on the front corner that still functions as a light. In 1913, a massive wave swamped this place. It was after Christmas and there was a multi-day storm that had blown up. Captain Fred Harrington went out, and as the storm reached its peak, he was here maintaining the light in the light room. And he described seeing a massive green wall of water coming towards the head, and seeing it hit the head. It shot up the side of the head, and the light room is 195 feet above sea level. And actually managed to swamp the light room. It put out the light. It knocked Captain Harrington off his feet. He managed to get the light put back in order, and fortunately was okay, but an absolutely massive, massive wave. Now let's go take a look at the lighthouse.
How many people can come in?
4 people can come in.
4 people, okay.
So come on in. Anybody who comes can come and visit and actually go up inside the light room. There is a steep ladder, so people who are uncomfortable with heights and climbing ladders may want to hold off. But you can actually come up the stairs and take a look from the view from the light room. It's a small space. It often gets very warm when it's sunny. But you're welcome. And feel free to come on up. Would you like to come up?
Yeah.
All right. Follow me.
How many of us can fit up there?
4 in total. And I would watch your head here at the top of the hatch.
I'll stand down there and listen.
This is, oh my gosh, this is fantastic.
Well, wait till you see the view.
Look at that.
So you have a beautiful panoramic view. If it was clear, we'd be able to see far down the coast this direction. That little house perched on the cliff is where the bell was.
Oh yeah.
In the spring and in the fall, when whales are passing by, you can see whales from here. And we often see porpoises and sea lions. If you look through the binoculars, the sea lions are often out on the buoys.
What can you tell us about this room here?
This was where the lighthouse keeper would do all the work of maintaining the light, because it's where the light was. He would have to swab the windows and keep it clean. There's a huge amount of repainting. The corrosive effect of the salt air really takes a toll. So all that maintenance was part of the lighthouse keeper's duties. And it's just an incredible place to take in this sweeping view of the coast.
Wow, what a great way to spend a Saturday morning. As we head on down the trail, I'll show you some more scenes of the Trinidad Head Lighthouse to brighten your day. Well, today's historical journey has come to an end. But later today, as dusk approaches and the fog rolls inland from the sea, perhaps, thanks to the magic of Humboldt County, if we listen very carefully, we just might hear faint echoes from the past.
My name is Josephine Harrington. My husband Fred and I were the lighthouse keepers here for 28 years, from 1888 to 1916. There were hardly anyone here in Trinidad back then. But over time, I grew to love the wide expanse of water that would grow into violent and unpredictable seas. Lighthouse keeping was constant work. The original light was an oil coal lamp that had to be cleaned thoroughly every day and its wick trimmed. Every day at sunset, that light was lit and had to be kept burning at full intensity until sunrise. It was 1913, and by then we'd been here for several years, and it was New Year's Eve, and we were going to have a nice warm supper followed by a family card game, and a storm began to grow in earnest, followed by high seas from the southwest and a gale wind. The boys watched their grandfather walk down the pathway up into the lighthouse. There he wiped the lantern windows and set the light. The sea shot up, became level to where he was standing, and immediately put the light out. In all our years of lighthouse keeping, we had never seen a sea that size. A couple of years later, Fred wasn't feeling well, and his assistant came to wake him, and Fred asked his assistant, "Is the light okay?" And his assistant said yes. And moments later, Captain Fred Harrington, my husband, passed away.